Finding the best graphics card for your rig had always been one of the more exciting parts of building a gaming PC, and nowadays you have more options than ever with both Team Red and Team Green putting out some amazing options for nearly every budget. Number 1. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti. Is AMD no longer the king of great value GPU? The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti threatens that claim with its price-to-performance ratio, one of the newer rivals in the RTX 3000 line. This graphics card punches way above its weight class, delivering a performance that could rival the RTX 2080 Super while keeping its price tag incredibly affordable for most people. That's with impressive ray tracing included. We've never seen 1080p gaming to be this good or this affordable, and if you plan on gaming in 4K, you can even do that, if just barely. You'll have to make some compromises on settings and skip the ray tracing. With that said, there's little else to fault with the 3060 Ti. It stays cool as a cucumber and, for those who like to display their PC innards, is quite stylish. This is, indeed, the best graphics card for most people. With the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3060 Ti, you don't have to break the bank to get access to next-gen graphics performance. And, while you can find the RTX 3060 for even less, the RTX 3060 Ti provides better value since it offers more performance for the price. In particular, the 3060 Ti improves upon the 3060 solid 1080p performance by letting you dive into the latest AA games at 1440p on ultra settings, and if you use DLSS, you may even be able to squeeze some 4K gaming out of it. Number 2. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3050. The best graphics cards that have come out over the last couple years have had one thing in common: they're really expensive. This has a lot to do with the graphics card shortage we've all been dealing with. But it's also because Nvidia and AMD have been ignoring the budget graphics card world for too long. Luckily, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3050 is finally here. While it's way more expensive than 50 series graphics cards from Nvidia have been in the past, this GPU is much more affordable than pretty much anything else in the current generation. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3050 is more than capable of playing pretty much any game you throw at it at high settings, just as long as you keep the resolution at 1080p. And, as sports gamers will love this card, as it is affordable, it can run games like Overwatch and League of Legends without breaking a sweat. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3050 arrives at the perfect time, maybe even a little late, as the best graphics cards keep getting more and more expensive, and because GPU keeps selling out, even the few that are reasonably priced haven't exactly been worth the price tag. Just look at the AMD Radeon RX 6500 XT. However, with the RTX 3050, you're not getting much lower performance than the next up Nvidia's lineup, the RTX 3060. The RTX 3050 has no problem hitting 60 FPS in any 1080p game you throw at it, though it might start to struggle in the most demanding games of the generation. Think Cyberpunk 2077. Number 3. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090. You can't beat the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090 when it comes to performance. With a whopping 24GB of RAM, no game or, more importantly, heavy graphics project will suffer performance issues. In fact, we were even able to get some 8K performance at 60 FPS out of the 3090. It is an incredibly expensive unit, and quite large too, so it will probably be too much GPU for most users. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090 is, in essence, a replacement for the Titan, so it's meant more for the creative user tackling intensive 3D and video rendering than for the avid gamer. Even so, it comes with a massive reduction in price compared to the Titan, making it a bargain for creative professionals used to shelling out a lot of money for the tools of their trade. Despite AMD's efforts, the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090 still sits atop the pantheon of most powerful GPU, powered by 24GB of GDDR6X RAM and cooled by a gigantic heatsink. It can keep up with the most strenuous demands, whether it's 3D rendering or hardcore gaming. It's so powerful that it's taken the place of two of the best graphics cards of the previous generation, the Nvidia Titan RTX and the RTX 2080 Ti. The Nvidia GeForce RTX 3090 has filled their shoes admirably. It can not only provide stunning performance in 4K but can even run the latest AA games in 8K at 60fps, even if it's not perfect at that extreme resolution. And, as capable as it is running the best PC games, this GPU is more suited to those who have to run graphically intense tasks such as video rendering or 3D animation. Number 4. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080. With the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080, 4K gaming just became a lot more accessible. Before, you had to shell out more than $1,000/$1,000 for the RTX 2080 Ti to get playable frame rates. However, with this new generation of Nvidia graphics cards, the price of 4K gaming has dropped nearly half thanks to the RTX 3080. When it comes to sheer power, the RTX 3080 boasts one of the largest generational leaps in GPU history, delivering a 50–80% performance boost over the RTX 2080 and a 20–30% boost over the RTX 2080 Ti, all while keeping the same price point as the RTX 2080. And, while it still comes at a premium compared to other GPU of this generation, it's still both an absolute powerhouse of a graphics card and a great value. We wouldn't recommend it, however, if you tend to play games at low resolution. When the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 was first released, it had to significantly improve upon Nvidia's top-tier graphics card from the Turing era, so expectations couldn't have been higher. But just like the rest of Nvidia Ampere, the RTX 3080 hasn't just been more than up to the challenge. It absolutely redefines the performance of the elite graphics cards by bringing fast, 4K gaming at an accessible, if not totally affordable, MSRP. In fact, the improvements of the RTX 3080 over the cards it's replaced seems to be the biggest generation leap in power we've seen in a long time. It performs 20–30% better than the card in our Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 Ti review and, more impressively, 50–80% better than the one in our Nvidia GeForce RTX 2080 review. Number 5. AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT. The AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT is without question the best AMD graphics card ever, and this is especially true when you consider its fantastic price point compared to its fantastic gaming performance, which often rivals the RTX 3090, especially if you aren't worrying about full-on ray tracing performance. There are some places where the RX 6950 XT lags though, especially in terms of creative performance. It doesn't have any tensor cores either, so its ray tracing performance will lag behind comparable RTX cards. But you simply cannot argue with this price, and had AMD launched the big Nvidia lineup of graphics cards with this as its flagship card, the entire story of this generation of graphics cards might have been rather different. This is a premium card though, so you'll definitely want to consider whether dropping a bunch of money on a premium graphics card this close to the anticipated launch of the next generation of cards is a good idea. But if you're going to go for a premium card right now for pure gaming purposes, then this should be at the top of your list. AMD should have led with the AMD Radeon RX 6950 XT. After a year and a half since AMD launched this generation's RDNA 2 graphics cards, and almost 2 years after Nvidia launched its first consumer Ampere cards, AMD has come out with a card that epitomizes everything AMD is known and respected for. It's just a shame that its last call on this generation of graphics cards, and the RX 6950 XT likely won't get the love it really deserved. The RX 6950 XT is the first graphics card from Team Red to pose an actually serious challenge to the Nvidia RTX 3090's gaming performance, and even though some inconsistencies inevitably hold it back from going a full 12 rounds against Nvidia's best, it's the kind of fighter that you find yourself cheering for anyway. Number 6. Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 Ti. There's a new Nvidia champion in town, and it takes power and performance to an even more accessible price point. The long-awaited RTX 3080 Ti delivered the same level of performance as the RTX 3090 during our tests, an impressive feat in its own right, while dropping the price by a few $100s, making all that sheer power more accessible than ever. It continues what the RTX 3080 has started, to take 4K gaming into the mainstream arena. With its breathtaking 4K at 6 TOPS performance, it also stays cool under pressure. And, like many of the other 3000 series GPU, it's quite a stunning-looking card to boot. Of course, it's still among the more expensive of Nvidia's offerings and requires a good amount of power to function properly. But, this is still the best graphics card on the market right now, especially if you care about ray tracing. Any other year in the Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 Ti would be a welcome side. 9 months separate the launch of the 3080 Ti and our Nvidia GeForce RTX 3080 review, and though that's the usual time frame for refresh, it's a strange time to stick to that schedule. While Nvidia surely has justifications for going ahead with this mid-generation refresh, the world of GPU along with almost everything else tech-related has been turned upside down.